What gets planned gets done. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 89 of our Supersize You annual challenge. And today we are talking about, of course, finances all this month. Money and finances, a very emotional topic for many people, but that's why we want to plan for it. Today we are looking at the R in our super framework, which stands for review, and I'll talk about that second today. I'm going to talk about our topic first today. We are looking at planning next quarter's goals. We're just a day away from the end of the first quarter of this year. And so before we hop into quarter two on Wednesday, right? Today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We want to make sure that we have our goals set financially for the next quarter. That would be April, May, June. Why do we want to do this? Because when we have a goal, when we have a target that we're shooting for, even if we don't know how we're going to get there, even if we don't have the steps mapped out in our mind or on paper, we know what we're shooting for. It's like hopping in your car and just driving, having no destination in mind versus plugging into your GPS or your global positioning system locator the destination that you want to go to. If you just hop in your car and drive around and you have no destination in mind, your results are going to be pretty haphazard, right? If you reach a destination that you want to reach at all. But if we have it planned out, if we map it out, we are, I bet there's statistics on this. But I'm going to say based on my personal experience, I am 100 times more likely to get where I want to go if I plan it than if I just go with the flow and don't plan it. Now, there's a lot of going with the flow in life too, but that's just a matter of doing things that are for us or not for us by paying attention. So how are we going to go about doing this? First thing I want to say about this is we want to, excuse me, we want to remember that, again, and it's the example I was just talking about, vague goals or no goals will lead us to frustration and negative emotions more often than not because we're not moving towards something. As human beings, I think we need to always be progressing, moving towards something that we want, working toward a worthwhile goal, etc. And maybe that's just because that was ingrained in me as a child, but I found that for myself and for others, it seems to give us a sense of direction. It's like being in tune with what your core values are. When you know what's most important to you, it makes decision-making really, really simple, fast, and easy. The same is true of having goals. And we want to have SMART goals. I like SMART goals, having unrealistic things to shoot for because that motivates me. Most people like to have achievable goals. So let's talk about what does SMART stand for. Specific goals, meaning if it's vague, chances are much more likely that you're not going to achieve that than if it's very specific. If I say I want to increase my income by $1,000 this month, that's very specific because it's by the end of this month. It's time bound, which is the T in SMART. Relevant is the R, and it's like relevant to me. It doesn't matter if anybody else thinks it's relevant. If it's important to me or something that I want, then it's relevant. That's how we define relevance. Hint, hint. We define everything through our own filters and our own reality. Every single human being does. It's why there's 100 people can witness the same exact event, but they'll all recall and share different versions of it because we all see different things. Thank you, reticular activating system. So SMART, specific, is in my opinion the most important thing, because if we're not specific, we're just throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping something sticks. I always like that analogy. I always want to throw spaghetti against the wall just to see if it does stick. So for an action item today, I challenge you to come up with 3 quarter two goals. It's morning. Number 1, a savings goal for quarter 2. How much do you plan on saving? Number 2, a debt goal for quarter 2. How do you want to deal with debt? Do you have debt? Do you want to pay off a certain amount of debt? Do you want to incur a certain amount of debt in order to acquire an asset? Remember, these all can go both ways. And then finally, an income goal for quarter 2. And I actually set goals, big, hairy, audacious goals. I don't remember who called them that first, but I thought that was a really good name because I believe in having absolutely positive, humongous, change the world goals as my lifetime legacy goals, I call those. Then I break those down into smaller chunks. Originally 25 years, but now I've gotten into the 15 and less years for these goals because I've worked my way through and achieved many of the goals that I set for myself throughout my lifetime already. But then I take those big, hairy, audacious goals and I break them down into annual. What do I need to do this year to move me toward that goal? And I do that in each of the different areas and aspects of the life framework in my life. And that's why I teach you to do it too, because I see how powerful and how amazing it has been in helping other people besides just me get incredible results. We can create, we as humans have this knack for overestimating what we can do in a year in terms of every area and aspect of our life, but underestimating what we can do in 5 years, 10 years. So short term, which a year, what's short term really? But I consider a year short term and anything above a year longer term. But that means that as humans, we think we can get all these things done. I can be a millionaire this year. I can be a billionaire this year in 1 year. I can start my business and make sure it's cash flowing and successful and making $100,000 a month this year in 1 year. If you don't have any foundation, if you haven't done anything in your life, that's going to really mess with your brain. However, are there people that have done that? There absolutely positively are. So we want to set a goal, and I take that goal then from the year and I break it down in 6-month, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily things that I want to do to make sure that I achieve that goal. And I do that just with my big lifelong legacy goals so that I'm working on them all the time, doing one little thing a day. And it's pretty easy as you break things down to figure out what those things are that you need to do. We as humans make life really, really complicated and hard on ourselves, and we don't have to do that. If we can step back and actually map out a plan of, okay, what does this look like? What do I need to do? What if I did this every day like I brushed my teeth? What would happen? What would the result of that be? It's incredible, and compounding and exponential, and the things that we can actually accomplish will blow our own minds. All right, let's talk about, so share in the comments below, what is your biggest, or not your biggest, but what is your number one goal for the next 90 days? Maybe it's to reduce debt. Maybe it's to find another stream of income. Whatever it is, just share it. You don't have to share any details, just what the goal is. Now, I want you to know specifically what the goal is, but you don't necessarily, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to share it. And then, and make it a financial goal since we're focusing on financial this month. And then our in the super process, because I'm doubling up the last 5 days of the month, or the last 5 almost days of the month, because we've got tomorrow still. How do we review what we've done so far in the area of finance? I like to go back and read my notebook and my notes that I've taken throughout the course of the month and see if I've missed anything in terms of taking action or applying something or testing something out that I wanted to do for the month. And we'll do that in more detail tomorrow. But for today, I want you to look at the challenge or the goal that you set this month. You've defined the gap in the first 2 days. You brainstormed some ideas of how to fill that gap. You took some action on it. Now we're just looking at, all right, did it work? Are we making progress? I'd like to break it down, and over the course of the year then, look at my immediate results. Have I seen anything happen yet? If not, I let it go a week and then I ask myself that question again. Did the thing that the action that I took have an impact? Meaning, did it get me any results? Sometimes we'll get negative results from the things we do, right? Then we want to stop doing those as soon as we realize we're getting negative results. It's like ad spend on a platform or something. If you're not getting any results, you don't just keep pouring money down that advertising hole. You stop and you change and tweak and do something different, and you keep testing until you find the thing that works for you. So we're going to look at this, our goals, our Q2 goals, weekly, monthly, and then quarterly. And we're going to write them down and look at them, especially in the area of finances, because this is the one that most of the people I run across choose to ignore the most. It's the one they say they want the most, but it's also the one they give the least attention to. What happens when we don't pay attention to something? We don't get any results in that area, right? All right, I'm going to call it a day. Action item, share in the comments below your number one goal for quarter two, and then do your review and say, well, how am I going to pay attention to? When am I going to review this? I actually schedule it on my calendar so I don't forget. Otherwise, life gets in the way. Life gets busy, and I would forget if I don't actually put it on my calendar. And it's, you know, a 10-minute, and I do more than one area. So depending on the month we're in. So this month, when I do my review on the calendar, it's financial, confidence, and then overall things that I want to do and add to the challenge. But we're going to look at weekly, quarterly, monthly, so time-bound things. Then we're going to look at celebration. What are the wins that we've had so far in our financial area? If we're making progress and we're achieving our goals for this time period, those are wins. Those are things we want to celebrate. Why? And be grateful for, because then we get more of them. It's a compounding effect. It's what we appreciate appreciates. What we're grateful for, we get more of. What we give, we get. Universal laws, I swear. And then finally, do we need to make any adjustments or evolve? I will tell you, in my 66 years on the planet, I don't know. I'd have to think long and hard to see if I've ever had a plan for anything that I put in place that went exactly according to the plan and the way I thought it should go and the way I wanted to. I used to be frustrated all the time because my definition of frustration was, if it's not working out exactly the way I think it should and I want it to right now, then I'm going to be frustrated. Guess what? I was freaking frustrated all the time. Is that the kind of energy or the way I want to feel? No, absolutely not. All right. That is it. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day. And I will, of course, be reading and looking for your biggest quarter two goal. Share them in the comments below. If you need help with anything else, all you have to do is ask.